Gentlemen, welcome to Las Vegas.
This week's all-time classic has one of the most impressive all-star casts you've ever come across. It features 3 of People magazine's sexiest men alive, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, and Matt Damon. But the list doesn't stop there. What would you say to Julia Roberts, Andy Garcia, Bernie Mac, Casey Affleck, and Scott Caan, among many more? Of course, we're talking about the heist flick Ocean's 11, directed by Steven Soderbergh. And if you ever wondered why so many of the world's greatest actors happened to all be available at the same time to make a movie, Matt Damon explains how that happened.
Well, Steven was smart. He contacted everybody over a year before, you know, so everyone's schedule was made around this movie. You know, we all agreed to do Ocean's 11, and so, you know, everybody, you know, who wanted to do another movie had to do it around Ocean's 11, because it was clear to everybody that the schedule for this movie could never change, because you couldn't redo George Clooney and Julia Roberts and Brad Pitt's schedule. You know, if you had to be there on this day, and you know, the rest of your life had to organize around it.
The film tells the story of Danny Ocean, played by George Clooney, and his 10 accomplices who plan to rob 3 Las Vegas casinos simultaneously. While for the cast it was all just one big party, for Soderbergh the whole filming experience was actually a bit frustrating.
It's a good group of guys. There was a real sense of the ensemble in the movie, you know, and that's when it's really beautiful, when you have a lot of people working for a common goal.
It didn't feel like work, you know, it was just a bunch of friends hanging out. Now, I'm sure Steven would tell you differently, because he was also shooting it and then editing at night. But for us, you know, it was just about hanging out, having a good time, and that was the spirit of the movie, so.
Excuse me, Mr. Benedict. Hi, how you doing? Sheldon Lewis, Nevada Gaming Commission. I need 2 minutes of your time. I got it. It's okay.
It was just tricky. It was in many ways a very frustrating experience, or a frustrating shoot. But then the things that made it difficult to shoot made it very easy to put together, because it could only fit, you know, one way. And so the editing process was actually pretty easy.
It was great to see the scenes I hadn't seen, you know, when everyone, for the heist to work, everyone's holding up their own end, and those areas where they're doing their bit of the heist. It was really fun, really cool. There's a favorite of mine with Bernie Mac and Matt Damon and Andy Garcia that's as funny as anything I'd ever seen.
Or should I call you Mr. Catton? You are Frank Catton, formerly of the Tropicana, the Desert Inn, and the New York State Penitentiary System.
We knew it when we were doing it, which is very rare. That while you're doing it's very rare for anybody. You know, nobody looks back and says, God, 5th grade was the best year of my life, which, by the way, it was. But you look at the way you're doing this film and you say, oh man, we knew the whole time we were doing it was the best time we were ever going to have making the film.
And it really shows when you watch the film. It's no wonder that 2 more sequels followed, albeit a little less successfully. The all-star comedy Ocean's 11 is as slick as they come, and although it may not be the most complicated or socially responsible film, it is definitely highly entertaining to watch. Ocean's 11 can, if only for that memorable end scene at the famous Bellagio fountain, rightfully be called an all-time classic.